Hello there, everybody. This is Bobby Narang. I'm one of the co-founders here at Opensense, and I am incredibly excited today to welcome those of you who are joining us from the mortgage industry. We've got a very exciting topic to cover today, and just a little bit of background before we get started. A lot of what we're going to be talking about today is the result of having had the opportunity to work with some of the large nationally oriented mortgage brokerages in the US. And so we feel like by working with some of these companies, we've uncovered what we believe to be a pretty incredible opportunity. And it's for that reason we've invited you all here today to share a little bit about an opportunity that we think that's going to be very exciting to learn more about. And so with that said, let me go ahead and kick this off. We're going to talk today about how to capture the one massive brand opportunity that most mortgage companies miss. And we'll talk a little bit about specifically what that opportunity is here in just a moment. But a key element of this is making sure, as if you're on the marketing team, you understand that there's always going to be a balance here of meeting the needs of individual brokers and your brand. And so I want to start there, just to kind of set a little bit of context for, how we think about working with mortgage brokerages and specifically the marketing teams at mortgage companies. It's always going to be a balancing act, particularly for some of the brands that are more regional and national in nature. Because as we know, there's obviously your brand, your company's brand, that carries with it a ton of value. There's an immense amount of reputation that's carried with that brand. If you're thinking about mortgage companies that you've heard of, you probably have some type of association that you have in your brain with those company names, those mortgage companies that you've heard of. So for marketers, that's incredibly important to reinforce that, to make sure that that's protected and demonstrated in every opportunity and every touch point. On the other hand, you obviously have your brokers and their own desires for their own brands, their personal brands, if you will. And so this is sort of one of the ongoing challenges that we've uncovered working with marketers within mortgage companies, where they're constantly sort of navigating this balancing act. And you're trying to accommodate and differentiate your brand from other lenders, but also accommodate the needs of your brokers. And, that might be needing to manage multiple locations with different licensing guidelines and regulatory requirements, making sure that you're always being helpful and making the buying process or the application process really easy, ensuring that your audience understands your reputation in the market and ensure that they're seeing the social proof of your standing in the market and how you've served other clientele. And obviously making resources more accessible is something that marketers are always going to be orienting around when they're thinking about supporting their brokers. And so we want to sort of highlight here that there is this balancing act that we're aware of when it comes to marketing a mortgage company, which is, again, you got your national brand and sort of all of the things that means, or your brand and everything that stands for. But then you've got the individual needs of the brokers. And so making sure that you're marrying the two and any solutions that you're identifying from a marketing standpoint is always going to be valuable. And when we start really digging into brand and the opportunity here, we kind of want to start orienting it around where Opensense lives, and that's in email. And when I talk about email, I'm talking about the messages that your brokers are composing and sending out of Outlook or Gmail or their mobile devices every single day. I know we live in an advent of the world where Slack is incredibly accessible and Microsoft Teams has made a tremendous impact in the market as well. But at the end of the day, business is still happening on email. And in the mortgage business, it's always going to be, making sure your audience is aware of your latest offers, conveying why your brand has the standing it does in your market, testimonials, feedback, case studies, things like that. Obviously, consumers are always going to be potentially shopping for the best rates and the best deal. And so providing comparative quotations and things of the sort, you're always going to be communicating that over email. And obviously, email is how we just make it easy to facilitate a transaction. That's how most people are communicating with you, the broker, and that's how most people are expecting to be communicated with in return. And so we believe that like email is just incredibly important in the context of the mortgage business. And herein lies some of the problem that we're hoping to address, which is most teams just aren't controlling everyday email. We have an example of an email signature here that you might see at the bottom of an email that's composed and sent from a broker in your firm. Certainly there's going to be a headshot in there. We know that mortgage brokers love to again, that personal branding component. But just think about it in your own operation. Are you seeing brand consistency with even, say, the font that's being used within the email signature? Oftentimes we see that it's kind of a hodgepodge, maybe some Times New Roman, maybe some Comic Sans, maybe a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But missing out on that, it's kind of like, I kind of think about it like if the New York Yankees lined up on the first baseline before the start of a game, and they're not all wearing pinstripes. It's just not the same. And so lacking that brand consistency really is a missed opportunity. Important links don't stand out. You see in the context of this example, there's a URL in there. You might not notice it. We see things like perhaps the links don't stand out. Maybe they're not linked properly. So even if someone clicks on it, maybe it doesn't go to the right place. So just relying on your end users to manage that, your brokers to manage that, can potentially lead to undesirable outcomes and poor experiences for your buyers who, again, are looking for the best experience and the easiest experience possible. The wrong use of logos. Just think about if you've ever seen an email coming into your inbox with whether it's an old logo or maybe it's blurry, maybe it shows up as an attachment on the email, maybe it doesn't link through to the website properly. Again, it's just a missed opportunity, and it prevents you from making that best foot forward, putting that best foot forward from a professionalism and uniformity standpoint, which we know brands crave. And then you're running into potential regulatory and compliance issues. Like if your NMLS numbers are not up to date or accurate or reflective of where you're currently exchanging the message and doing the business, that can potentially present a risk to the business. If your certifications aren't current, that's, again, a missed opportunity to create that trust, that trusted advisor sort of experience, just in communicating that. We're missing out there potentially. And then, incomplete social. We obviously want to take advantage of the fact that, people are going to be seeing and interacting with the emails that you're composing and sending. Is the most accurate, up-to-date Facebook page listed, Yelp page? Is it your broker's page, or is it the national page? How can you potentially enforce or manage or support that? These are some of the challenges that we see mortgage companies encountering. Just the total lack of consistency and uniformity, and leaving it all to the end user, the broker, to actually manage themselves. Again, we're missing out on a real opportunity here. So why is all of this important? Like, we understand acutely that an email signature that doesn't look great is a problem, right? But why should you care about this? Well, the reason is because, as I mentioned, business is still happening over email. That's the primary communication channel you have with your customer. And to kind of put some numbers around this, an average broker will send about 40 emails a day, 5 days a week, 50 weeks in the year. It's almost 10,000 emails that are being composed and sent for every broker within your company. If you have 100 brokers in your company, that's nearly 1 million emails that are being composed and sent every single year. And what we've learned is that an email is opened on average between 2 and 3 times. That's between 2 and 3 million brand impressions that are there for the taking in these emails that are already being composed and sent every single day and every single year. And that is where we see a massive brand opportunity. So what does it look like when you actually take advantage of this opportunity? What does maximizing the opportunity actually look like? Well, first and foremost, look at this beautiful signature, this transformation that we've seen in our previous example. It almost has the look and feel of like a mini web page within the signature. But you're getting a uniform look and feel for every email that's being composed and sent, whether it's from Outlook, a mobile device, Gmail, your iPad, it doesn't matter. Okay. You're getting a beautifully formatted headshot in the context of uniform and accurately linked content. The clickable phone numbers, clickable URLs, etc. All of our social media properties are easily accessible and properly represented in this email signature. But then layering it on from there, what if you started layering on some of the important links that drive higher conversions? Easy applications, easy to see, easy to use apply now buttons, or contact me, V cards, getting reviews. We want to make sure, again, that we're enhancing our position in the local market. The more reviews we can attract, the better, particularly if we feel really good about the service that we provide. Beneath the signature, there's this beautiful piece of content in the form of a banner. Think about how effective it might be for a first-time home buyer to see a blog link beneath the broker's email signature, walking a buyer through their buying process. If you've ever had the experience the first time, it's a pretty stressful experience with word of mouth advice. But how valuable it could be to be able to access some of that content in the same email that I'm getting from my introduction email from my broker. License numbers and disclaimers. This is often something that today is, again, left to the hands of the brokers, but making sure that the appropriate licensing is displayed in every single message from every single time that an email is composed and sent can not only look clean and uniform, but again, helps to shield the business from any regulatory compliance risk that might arise from not appropriately providing your licensing information. And then, of course, social proof. Are you accredited by the Better Business Bureau? Is your Yelp rating high? Being able to convey that to your market is so important, particularly in competitive markets. And if your brand stands out for its position in the market, and there's social proof of that, it's imperative to ensure that you're providing that in the context of every single touch point that you have with your audience. So when we think about maximizing signatures, there's kind of like the old way, and then there's the way to do it with technology. Now, you can certainly maximize signatures by managing everything I told you about or just shared with you manually. And some of you probably have already done that. You may not be able to read these emails in an inbox, but I'd love to see a show of hands of anyone who's seen the sort of bombardment of inbound requests from your brokers. Can you add my new headshots? My meeting link is broken. I'm licensed in some new states. Can you add those to my signature? We've got a new team logo. We need that to be updated in our signatures. These are the types of requests that we see marketers in the mortgage space fielding on a daily basis. And I mean, generally, it's a good reason for it. You've got brokers out there who really care about their image. But again, how do you balance the sort of nitty-gritty requirements of your individual brokers and their teams with the requirements of your brand as a whole? Well, one of the ways that you can do that in a more streamlined fashion is by leveraging technology. Solutions like Opensense give you a centralized place to provide uniform formatting while also allowing for customizable fields that allow your brokers to provide whatever types of customizations they require, and for you to be able to support those customizations centrally without needing to go over to their PC or to get on a Zoom call to walk them through their Outlook. Being able to centralize the management of this is something that marketers are finding tremendous value in with technology solutions like Opensense. What does maximizing signatures look further? Well, you certainly can maximize the opportunity by layering on email ad campaigns. Okay, when we talk about email ads, we're talking specifically those banners that we saw in our example beneath the email signature content. And most marketers I speak with intuitively understand that there's value in doing this. And generally or historically, the method of managing this has come in the form of an email, not dissimilar from the manual approach we see on the left here. Basically, a simple email with an image and a URL asking an end user to add it to their email signature themselves. And for anyone who's ever done that, I'm sure you're aware of the pitfalls, which are, does the user or does your colleague do it at all? If they do they do it correctly? Is the image actually linked properly? And if all of that's correct, do they have the wherewithal to remove it from their signature in a timely fashion such that you're not promoting an event that happened 6 months ago? Again, intuitively, we understand there's tremendous value in promoting things within the email signature, but practically, we know it's incredibly difficult to manage that at scale. But again, marketers who are looking to utilize technology to solve this problem are able to centrally deploy email ad campaigns. They can measure any of the data that's related to those campaigns: deliveries, views, clicks, who's clicking. They can apply scheduling so that the campaigns automatically expire at the appropriate time. They can even set up targeting so that depending on who you are emailing, you can show content that is more relevant. For instance, you might have a first-time home buyer who should see the first-time home buyer's guide to buying a house. But you might have clientele that's already purchased a house. And when you send them an email, we can leverage your customer data to promote content that's more relevant for someone who might be in the market for a refinancing. So being able to take advantage of your customer data to provide a totally tailored and targeted experience within your signature is something that technology solutions like Opensense can help with. It might also just be as simple as John Smith's team in Albuquerque wants to have their team's logo or their team's website promoted versus Alice Jones' team in Phoenix who wants their website or their property promoted. So there's a number of different ways that email ad campaigns can be leveraged that we've seen in the market. The key thing to understand here is that gone are the days of sending an email asking someone to lift a finger to execute those campaigns. As a marketer, technology like Opensense can help you do your job, which is to market and to promote and to drive awareness and demand. So that's one of the ways we think that maximizing email signatures, specifically maximizing email ad campaigns, is possible with solutions like ours. And to kind of piggyback on that a little bit, here's some ideas that we've seen play out in the market that we want to share with you. And before I get started, at the end of this webinar, we're going to be sharing a link to a playbook for all of the various stages of the buyer's journey that your buyer typically encounters as a customer or as a prospective customer, and some awesome plays that you can run with email ad campaigns right beneath the email signature. So keep your eyes open for that. If you like what we're about to cover here, you're going to absolutely love the playbook. So keep your eyes open for that link. We'll post it in the webinar and certainly follow up with it being on our website, on our website as well. But let's just talk about some of these plays that you can potentially run. Really simple, like that first email that you have, dropping in a pre-qualification application link, making it super, super easy, right? All this does is just increase your opportunity to convert that prospective client into an actual client by getting them to take that next step and fill out that application. I love the second one, which highlights why your brand is different, showing off why other home buyers trust you. It is really fascinating to me to understand that there are always going to be different options in a marketplace. And if yours is one that has a high reputation, I mean, to be fair, a lot of your marketing work is already done for you. But one of the ways that you sort of continue to be able to take advantage of that is by making sure that the market is aware of that reputation, not just through word of mouth, but even in the touch points once your broker's in touch. So showing off why you're the highest in customer satisfaction, for instance, would be a great play, a great ad to run in your email signature. The next one I think is super, super relevant for those of you who have CRM. You already know who your customers or clients are. If mortgage rates continue to be attractive, then there may be an opportunity for you to provide refinancing to perhaps clients who were in the market for a mortgage last year, but perhaps went with another brokerage. Well, they might be the right people to reach out to and target with a solution, with an ad kind of like this one. If you're considering refinancing, here's some great resources and some rates for you to be aware of. So again, being able to leverage your customer data to drive a targeted experience in your touch point is something that technology can help to facilitate, and specifically Opensense is helping large national mortgage houses to take advantage of. I love this next example as well, promoting partnership with your brokers. So again, when you have an idea of who you're talking to, client, prospect, the broker who's CC'd on the email, the ability for Opensense to leverage that data to provide a targeted and personalized experience where your prospect might see a blog about first-time home buying or your latest rates, but the broker who's CC'd on that message will see an ad that's highly relevant to them. This new cool network that you're promoting to get other brokers into the fold, that might be something totally valuable and totally unique for that broker, and another way for you to expand your reach into their sphere of knowledge and potential influence. So again, take advantage of your data, take advantage of what you know about your relationships and your customer to drive a personalized experience in the emails that you're composing and sending. Content, the next one, drive traffic to informative blog posts. I mean, let's be honest, one of the first places consumers are starting their search for financing is on Google. And we know that the best brands in the mortgage space right now are investing in content. And a lot of times that content will reside on your website, which is great. But think about the numbers that we talked about before, 10,000 emails a year per sender. You start extrapolating the numbers out there, it may be that more people see your brand's email or email from your company, and specifically the email signature, than may actually see your website. You know, I'd encourage you to do that thought exercise. Like, how many people are visiting your website versus how many people are seeing your email signature and those mini websites and your email signature every single day. So it's wise then to assume that there is a positive impact that can be gleaned if you're taking that content that's on your website already and putting it directly in front of your prospects, your clients, in the form of these email ad campaigns. So if you're investing in content, this becomes another incredibly viable channel for you to distribute that content and make sure that you're maximizing its impact. Showing off your latest rates. This can be something that can be programmatic, where data is queried out of your rate generating system and applied directly in an email ad banner so that your market is aware of the latest rates. I mean, it's really, really quite simple, but it shows, again, a level of professionalism and capability that I think the market is impressed by. And so this is another great use case specifically relevant in this space that we wanted to make sure that we highlighted. I absolutely loved going over these 6 plays because I think they're so relevant and they're so tied to the way the business actually works. We see this both as vendors in the space, but also as consumers in the space. We are your customer as well. And so we hope that this was sort of an informative few minutes to again talk about the balancing act that exists in general for marketers, both supporting the brand as well as the needs of the individual broker. Understanding that email is presents an incredible opportunity for you to present that balance and promoting the corporate brand and supporting the needs of the individual broker. And then talking specifically about ways to take advantage of that channel, of that opportunity in super specific plays that are relevant to your business and ultimately can drive additional growth. If you thought those plays were awesome, I've got great news for you, because we've got this incredible playbook that's been put together that can give you what you need to create a personalized customer experience and maximize everyday email. But it's really, really powerful. I mean, I'm talking specific use cases to the industry that we've used primary research to develop, combining that with our knowledge and expertise about email signatures, and the opportunity that exists. And so we highly encourage you to check that out. Again, that should be a link dropped into the chat for those of you who have joined. If you're interested, we'll have this up on the website as well later. And obviously, anytime, I am always happy to discuss. So much of what we've built, it's been directly the result of conversations we've had with prospects and customers. And we like to think that we are listening to the needs of the market. If you ever have any questions or feedback, you can always email me at bobby.narang@opensense.com. I'm more than happy to engage anytime.